I can never forget I was geologist then, and I used to go to various locations, various remote locations for field work. Yeah. So globally, in various countries, I'm currently helping about 85 plus social enterprises. Okay. If they are not able to understand, problem lies with you, not with them. So always take a review package in the spirit that it's meant to improve your work. If somebody is not clear about your research, it's you who is not communicating well rather than they not understanding well. So dedication, hard work, and perseverance is must. And this will not come to you easily unless you have passion for the topic. 8-year field work. It is lots of, and I visited almost, I think, 2,000 villages for this research.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and don't forget to press the bell icon to get all the latest updates. Hi everyone, my name is Anita Sharma and I welcome you all at Inkpothub Media once again. In the life of scholars, PhD days remains unforgettable because they learn to read and write, and also they get to meet a lot of top scholars in their research area. I am no different. Trust me, I am no different because in 2014, I met with Professor Israr Qureshi. He visited IIM Indore campus. We had a very brief discussion on social entrepreneurship. I attended his research methodology workshop, and after that, we never met again. But he left a very strong impact on the way I look at social entrepreneurship research now. And today I feel so fortunate because I'm going to speak with him on the occasion of Teachers' Day celebration at Inkpothub Media. Professor Qureshi, I welcome you wholeheartedly. Thank you so much for accepting our request.
Thank you, Anita, for inviting me. Really appreciate it.
Sir, it's been 7 years and I follow your work, and you are a celebrated professor, and currently you are associated with Australian National University Research School of Management. You are an editor and associate editor of journals like MIS Quarterly, Information Systems Journal, and then you are associate editor of Business and Society. Your work areas are quite different, like information systems and social entrepreneurship. I would like to know about your research journey, and I also want to know the evolution of these research areas and what motivated you or the triggering moments in your life. Please let us know.
Thank you, Anita. I think just a clarification, I think both fields, though look slightly different, but core of both of them are addressing social issues. So social entrepreneurship is to address social issues, as well as ICT for development is also about using technology and tools to address social problems. In that sense, both are quite linked to each other. To give the background, I come from very impoverished background. Our family was very poor, and I have seen poverty up close during my childhood. And also during my later period when I did field work, I was able to see them very close. Also during my early age, I read Gandhi, Ambedkar, and Vinod Bhave's work. Not everything made sense to me then, but that stick with me, and over time I realized the value of those readings. I saw social worker like Baba Amte and then his son Prakash Amte, because both the ashrams were very close from my hometown. So I used to go there and used to see their work up close. And that inspired me that there's a possibility of solving social problems if people are dedicated. So those things remain with me. However, as you know, necessity of our life take us to various places. And I ended up in one big oil company as my first job. 15 months of experience in that oil company taught me all the wrong things big oil company can do to environment, not only environment, but to general society. These experiences made me aware of various socioeconomic problems and environmental issues we face, and we actually exacerbate as a management scholar. Because oil companies and financial institutions are nothing but the people whom we trained. So it helped me understand our own role in the society and various issues. And finally, I have been to various countries. I lived in 10 countries now. And there are almost in every place absolutely nice people and wonderful people, and there's no differences between us. But then there are also people in those very countries which made me aware that there's a discrimination on various aspects. There's marginalization on the aspect. And the solutions are not always very difficult, but as a human being, as a race, sometimes our priorities are misplaced. We focused on differences, we focused on fast growth and competition rather than cooperation and inclusion. And in that sense, I try to learn what role we can play as academic, how we can make sense of those things, how we can help solve social issues. And then my journey took me to various organizations who are doing wonderful work. Pradhan, and I'm quoting only Indian example here, thinking of audience from India. Pradhan, Digital Green, Development Alternatives, Digital Empowerment Foundation, Seva, Asefa, Basics, Drishti, Selco, and if you remember more, Gunj, for example, Srijan, Apnalya, and Seva Mandir. And the list is long, it's not exhaustive list. The list is long. But idea is there are wonderful people and wonderful organizations who are doing this job. So I try to understand through the lens of social intermediation in my research.
Okay.
In organizational and management domain, and digital social innovation in ICT domain, how we can use this lens to understand how organization can solve social issues and social problems.
So that changed your perspective. Your life journey changed your perspective towards it, towards your research as well. Can you share any little moment, like which was the exact triggering moment when you decided that, okay, why I should choose this particular area as a research area?
So I think there are many, but one which I can never forget is I was geologist then in my previous job, and I used to go to various locations, various remote locations for field work. However, in India, it's surprising that in terms of distance, they are not very remote. So for example, this place was hardly 30 kilometers from outskirts of Bangalore. So it's not really too remote in that sense. But in social sense, they are very remote. So every time I used to pass by that road and that village for my fieldwork, I used to see a few women very far from the cluster of the houses, a big tree and sitting under there. And I used to ask the driver who was taking us there, why they are, even in the night and middle of the night, under the tree rather than being at home. And my driver used to always say, oh, forget, so that's not something you should bother about. And one day it was enough for me, and I asked him to stop and ask him, can you ask them why they are not at the home and under the tree? And he said, I know it. You don't have to ask them, I can tell you. So these people are undergoing to the period. And because villager assume it's impure, every woman who has period has to be under the tree rather than at home till that period is over. And sometimes they get food there, sometimes they don't, but they stay there. I said, like, this is not something economic issues. This is not something which, because of lack of resources. There are lots of things happens in India, or many parts of the world, where our social norms and our social structures are so discriminatory that it actually affect people, especially marginalized group, disproportionately. And if we can understand or help organizations which are helping make this society more inclusive, I should be doing that research rather than trying to help a Fortune 500 company who doesn't require my help. They have money to hire consultant, to hire people who can help them promote their products. I am not there to help them promote their product or make them more profit. I should be working on the social issues. We have management theories, we have organizational theories, we have sociological theories, which can help us understand this problem and at least try to find some solutions to the problems.
Okay. And you also do a lot of pro bono consultancy to social enterprises. I saw it on LinkedIn profile, which you mentioned on that.
Correct. Yeah. So globally, in various countries, I'm currently helping about 85 plus social enterprises. Okay. Now, helping is I think not a right word, because many times they help me learn more about my own journey. So it's a mutual. I learn from them. I can help them sometimes possible.
Okay. So a lot of learnings from our life, the things which are happening around. Okay, so in all these years, you might had a lot of teachers around you, and because we are celebrating this particular, your video is going to be live around Teachers' Day celebrations, and at Inkpothub we are celebrating the entire month of September as Teachers' Day. If I ask you, to send a Teacher's Day greeting card to your teacher or guru, who that person would be and why?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult choice because given my age, many of my early stage gurus are no more, so I won't be able to send them card. But nevertheless, they help shape my journey. However, if I had to pick up one, maybe two people, would be one of them would be my supervisor in my PhD program, Professor Deborah Kampu. And I'm not saying this lightly. I haven't met a person in my life who is so positive in the outlook. To give an example, in my first submission to MIS quarterly, and we got, thankfully, R&R, revise and submit, but comments were quite strong. And I went to her as any young scholar, academically young scholar, frustrated and disappointed. She said, like, you should be very happy because you got R&R, first of all. So you should always look towards the positive side. Secondly, if you think the comments of reviewers are harsh, they are meant to be harsh because otherwise you won't improve. Third, if you think they are not understanding you, it's not their problem, it's your problem. If you cannot make 3 people who are engaged in your research, trying to actually read it to understand, if you cannot make them understand, you have no chance to make people who are not engaged to be understood your research. So if they are not able to understand, problem lies with you, not with them. So always take a review package in the spirit that it's meant to improve your work. If somebody is not clear about your research, it's you who is not communicating well rather than they not understanding well. So I never saw her getting a package and being disappointed. She's always very positive. Even if it's a rejection, she's still positive about it. So I learned from her how to be positive during the review process. I would also try to, my second card would go to Professor Alison Conrad. Again, she was my examiner in my thesis and also collaborator later on multiple projects. She has a keen eye in terms of finding issues on the paper and very nice way of pointing it out. It doesn't hurt. So the way she writes it, it's so wonderful that you feel like I will be happy if she provides 10 more such comments because they help me improve and there's no way it can hurt. So I think there's an art and skill to encourage and mentor other people.
Okay. And because the research is all about student and supervisor, guru and shishya, I have few more questions around guru and shishya. Who is a guru or a supervisor in your understanding? Because a lot of people, young researchers who are about to find their supervisors, they find it really confusing. So I want to know who is a supervisor in your understanding and what are those key attributes which students should look into a professor who is going to be a supervisor for him or her?
Yeah, I think if you look from the perspective of potential PhD students, it's always a difficult choice because they are not that stage. They don't know inside story. They are completely outsider. In fact, many PhD students have wrong notion that PhD is a degree required for teaching. It doesn't teach you any skill about teaching. On contrary, it teaches you about research. So sometimes there's lots of misunderstanding about what PhD is. However, many of the students focus on area of expertise, which is important. Publication record of the supervisor, also important. And standing in academic community of the supervisor, again important thing. However, nothing of this matter if the supervisor is not willing to support you and your research journey. And this is not only about during your PhD, but also during your entire early research career, because it's not a relationship of only 4 years of PhD program. Your supervisor is a mentor for you for your early career as well. So as a potential PhD student, you should be looking at following attributes. How many PhD students they have supervised?
Okay.
How often their PhD students are the first authors on the paper, not the supervisors themselves. How often their PhD students are the first author, and also whether whether a supervisor continue to work with them beyond the PhD. So you can track these people, those who were their past student, and see whether this supervisor collaborated with them beyond their PhD. But that's only one side of story, because some supervisor could be very controlling, so they won't let you work with other people. So you should also see whether this PhD student have worked with other potential collaborators beyond their own PhD supervisor? Are they publishing independently? Are they collaborating independently of their supervisor? Unfortunately, much of this information requires some research, and many of the potential PhD students are not willing to put that effort to research those aspects of the supervisor.
I think that is the reason a lot of young potential PhD students find it difficult to find a suitable supervisor for their research interest areas. So this is from the perspective of student. There's another side of this coin, that how to find a suitable PhD student or which student to supervise from a supervisor's perspective, because you have supervised so many students. Tell me about that aspect as well, because that should come from the other side of the table.
I think, again, a difficult question, because each student is different. Each one has different motivations and attributes. So it's very difficult judgment to make who could be a good. And ultimately, there are multiple factors and parameters to success, how you measure success. But some of the important attributes would be passion for the topic. It's must. If you are not liking your topic, it shows up in your various documentation, research proposal, your statement of purpose, and so on and so forth. So passion for the topic has to be there. Supervisor should have strength in that topic. So if I am supervisor, I should at least some strength on that topic. Otherwise, it will be futile for me to be, I won't be useful to students. Also, students' willingness to invest efforts required for developing necessary skills. So you may not have those skills now. Are you willing to put effort in investing time and other things to learn those skills? Because we know from past, GRE, GMAT, and all those standard scores are no predictor of any successful PhD completion. We have wonderful people with very high standard scale scores, but then not succeeding. And relatively average score student with passion and with effort are successful. So dedication, hard work, and perseverance is must. And this will not come to you easily unless you have passion for the topic. So I think the first thing comes is passion about the topic you are doing research on.
Okay, I'm moving to the next part, and this is particularly very interesting for people to find a passion towards the research area. It is very important, and that actually binds the relationship of a supervisor and a student. Very interesting answer. So thank you for showing your views on, or sharing your views on this particular dilemma, actually. So because you have been doing research, and you have written so many papers, you have gotten more than 3,000 citations as per your Google Scholar list. I would like to know which paper is very close to your heart, which research output or impactful research is very close to your heart, and what is the reason behind it?
Yes, I think if I had to pick just one, I will use the transformative power of knowledge sharing in setting of poverty and social inequality, 2018 organizational studies paper.
Okay.
For multiple reasons. One is this is I think almost 7-8 year field work.
Okay.
So it is lots of, and I visited almost, I think, 2,000 villages for this research. In fact, I in one of the instances, I had to sleep on the dirt road near Rajasthan and Maharashtra, sorry, Madhya Pradesh border. The night which has about 3-degree temperature, centigrade temperature, and drizzling. So those are the memories of that research. But there are also positive part, because this research is not only about identifying shortcomings, limitations, and discrimination, but it also gives you a positive aspect. Like sometimes some organization with dedication are able to overcome those discrimination and inequalities. So the number of years I spent, kind of work I had done, and experience I got in various villages, plus excellent team. Both the co-authors and team are wonderful people. Dr. Babita Bhatt, you know very well, but also Chris Sattar. He made tweet that although we never asked him to come to field because we thought he won't be able to make much sense of the field. But here's a lesson for those students who are trying to look for this kind of research. We thought that Chris will not be useful because he won't understand any language, anything about it. And it will be kind of a waste of his time. But then the moment he joined us 3 times on 3 different occasions, I think 2 weeks each time, in the villages. He sat with the villagers, eat the food they ate, and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And his question, not to them, of course, because there was no communication between them and Chris, but his question to me for every single thing which he observed, he used to ask because he was curious.
Mm-hmm.
And because he asked, I had to think, because many of those things I used to take for granted. So he brought an ethic perspective. I was using my emic because I was culturally immersed. His ethic perspective helped me to think over those things which I took for granted.
Okay.
So having an ethic person can make team complete in terms of what they see, what question they ask, and how they thoughtfully or make sense of things around it. So we did all those things, and then Chris and I was discussing outside in the farmland, and he saw a well and he saw into it, and then there were multiple snakes inside, and then some big frogs and lots of garbage and plastic and everything. And he just half-heartedly asked me, I don't think they use water from this well. And I said, they might have, and we checked with the boy. He said, we use this water. And he was about to throw, but then he said, I had to tell myself that, no, I cannot do that, because if they are eating this and drinking this water, and if I want to research with them, I shouldn't be showing anything on my face even that I'm different than them. Of course, we are different, but we should not show it. And his character of immersing into the very remote environment inspired me as well to think that if he can do it, why shouldn't we?
Wow, this is really, it's giving me goosebumps just to hear this particular incident. I can relate and understand that living in villages and traveling to villages and spending time with them, it's a real learning, and then you are putting that into paper. Amazing, sir, amazing. So now, because we have discussed a lot of serious stuff, I would like to take you through our interesting aspect which we talk about in terms of rapid fire. It's going to be a very small candid rapid fire. Some few questions I'm going to throw to you, and in one word or one statement you have to answer those questions. Okay, and this is for to understand you better, some light side of yours as a scholar. Okay, so I'm going to ask you questions now. So what is the first thing you do when you receive a paper acceptance letter in your inbox?
Inform my co-authors.
Okay. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
I am flexible. I am 24/7 if required.
Okay. What's your go-to snack while writing?
I think many, because my weights tells you many snacks, but most favorite is pistachio.
Pistachio, okay. An advice you received and stayed with you forever?
Be grounded. So know your place and be grounded.
Okay. What's your stress buster activity?
Normally we go for a walk, and thankfully Canberra has a wonderful nature around it.
Okay. One piece of advice you give your 60 years old self today?
I'm getting there, very close. So no amount of success is worth compromising your health.
Okay. If you have to write a book on your life, what would be the title of your book?
I think if I had to write about my academic journey, the title would be Things I Have Not Learned.
And what about your non-academic journey? Are they different or they resonate each other?
So my non-academic journey is more about my love for nature, birds, and wildlife. So I try to go for hiking and try to go for nature walk regularly. So I think if I had to write something about a personal thing, maybe it will be about nature or trails and travels or hiking.
Okay. And Australia is giving you that scope as well. It looks
Yes.
like. I am very thankful to you, sir, for taking time out and giving your interesting insights and your perspectives towards life. I think I am learning a lot from you today, because this paper, which I'm going to read now, I have not read the paper, but I'll read now. And hearty congratulations on your upcoming projects. Thank you so much. Happy Teachers Day once again.
Thank you, Anita. Thanks for inviting me, and hopefully we should have more interaction
Very
in
soon.
future.
Very soon, sir.
Take care, Rita. Take care.
You too, sir. It's great to see you all here. Thank you for watching our work. If you have not subscribed to Inkpothub Media, then please hit the bell icon and subscribe to our channel and support research celebrations in India.